Hello and welcome to the video. This is the first look at this latest model from HolyBro. Now, HolyBro or HolyBro, depending on how you want to say it, have been producing some really beautiful models and some fantastic electronics for the past couple of years. In fact, if you look on my channel, you'll see the technology, and I've put it all together actually in a playlist so you can see it. They make some amazing flight controllers, the ESCs are really good, the video transmitters are fab as well. They tend to have this habit of naming all their products after ancient weapons, but that aside, I find it difficult to find fault with the stuff that Kopis does. Now, the last quadcopter from Kopis that I had a look at was the Kopis 2. The original Kopis I did a review of and was very impressed, and I think all reviewers, when they got hold of the Kopis 2, had nothing but very good things to say about it, because the arms are quite thin. If you do smash into something quite hard, then you can break them, but the cool thing is there are spares available. And with the latest Kopis 2, they have done a little bit of tweaking to the model to make it more suitable for 6S. Now, in that original Kopis 2 review, it was capable of 4S and 6S, although if you remember back that far, I did talk about the fact that actually it was really optimized for 4S. 6S was going to be a bit of a push. But what they've done is they have changed the motor and ESC setup in this, so now it is a true 6S machine, although it will fly fine on 4S too. So while I unbox it, let me go through some of the specs. So this is a 5mm frame, full 3K carbon fibre. All of the screws on this thing are countersunk, just like the original one, and the finish on the build is fantastic. I'll show you some close-up shots in a bit. Kakute F7 flight controller in the middle of this. The Kakute flight controllers are some of my favourites and work really nicely. There is soft mounting in here for that flight controller, and obviously it has things like your Betaflight on-screen display and stuff too. There's an Atlatl HV V2 video transmitter in here as well. That's going to run at standard 40 channels and also goes from pit mode, 0.5 milliwatt, up to a nice chunky 800 milliwatts if that's legal for where you live. MMCX connector on it, and it is all wired in so that you can change everything from the Betaflight on-screen display. Buzzer included in the box, little Runcam Robin FPV camera at the front, and there is an immense amount of tilt available with these frames from HolyBro, and you can buy the frame separately if you really like it, and that will take you from 0 to a full 90 degrees. Serial receiver is supplied. Mine's come with a FreeSky receiver running S-Bus, and it's going to weigh about 325 grams without your props or your battery. Inside the case as well, there's a couple of sets of props, and that gives you the flexibility to put the right props on for either 4S or 6S. So, quick connect up to Betaflight just to have a quick look round at how it comes out of the box. Obviously, I'd recommend going in here and doing everything you need to do. So we can see that the flight controller does have a barometer on it. In fact, I have heard that people have added iNav onto this. So smart audio for managing the video transmitter on UART1, smart port telemetry back to the radio, fantastic on UART6, all set up, and the ESC telemetry set as well. D-Shock 600 set for this. 8K gyro, 2K PID loop frequency. Everything else looks pretty standard. Power and battery looks like that if you ever want to change or mess around with yours. PID tuning looks like that. And by default, there's only a very basic set of modes, just horizon and arm set. And the on-screen display is a bit basic too. So I'd recommend coming in here and having a little play to tweak it how you're going to like. So last thing to check is what's it running. It's 4.04 version of Betaflight, which is pretty current. So to fly, it's exactly like all of the other HolyBro Kopis models in that out the box, it's not a bad tune at all. It flies beautifully, very responsive, tons of power, flies on 4S, but if you want a 6S screamer, then this is going to do it. By default, the battery fits onto the bottom, so there is room at the top if you wanted to strap some kind of action camera. But the way this flies and behaves is exactly like the other Kopis models in the lineup. It just works, and it just works beautifully. It can be tricky reviewing products like this that are really good, in that there's not an awful lot of things to nitpick at. And you tend to find that really short videos are because products are really good or they're really bad. And this one is definitely not really bad. So in summary, what do I think? Well, what do I like? Well, there isn't a lot here that I don't like. The hardware and frame is excellent. I do like the stretched edge configuration. It flies really well. The HolyBro flight controller, ESC and VTA units are great. We have T-Motor F60s on here with a lower kV than the previous version. These are 1700 odd kV, whereas the original Kopis 2 SE had, I think it was a 2400 kV setup, which was definitely more aimed at the 4S Flyer. The build quality on these models is absolutely fantastic, and it's a little touchy. It's like having the insulating stuff on top of the exposed connections where the battery plugs in, that just shows how much care and effort and attention goes into these builds. And I do like the idea of potentially converting these things to iNav. There's loads of room on the top deck with having the battery underneath, so you could put some kind of action camera at the front and maybe a GPS at the back, and then you can have an autonomous quad or one that's going to fly back to you reliably all the time. Check out my recent Betaflight to iNav video where I show how to do that. Things to be aware of, not a lot, to be honest. If you are looking for a 6S capable quadcopter and the idea of soldering leaves you in a cold sweat, then this is a fantastic choice. It isn't ridiculously expensive for all the components and the quality that you get. The other thing that I noticed when looking through this, as well as all the spares availability, is there are specific versions of this for the DJI HD system. So if you're looking for a frame that's going to work really well, fly great, and also support your investment in the HD DJI stuff, then this is definitely worth a look. And what tends to happen with me is once I've got one of these quads in and seen how well they perform, is then I usually just copy the setup in one of my builds. And in fact, I did that with my Bolt RC build from a couple of years ago. One of the first Kopis quads I got in, I was so impressed with it. I just used the same flight controller, VTX and ESCs in that model, and that flew beautifully as well. So if you have some money in your pocket over the festive period and you've been looking for a 6S quad to buy, or you're looking for a 6S quad that also has support for the DJI stuff, then for me the Kopis 2 6S version is a fantastic option. Thanks for watching the video and watching right to the very end. You can find me in all the usual places on social media, and if you like the video and like what I'm doing here, then hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification icon too. If you really like what I'm doing, you can go the extra mile and become one of my Patreons for access to me directly for support, and also giveaways and regular updates too. If you're looking for particular content, then check out the playlist. I organise all of my videos into playlists, so if you're looking for a particular topic, you can find everything here. If it's called Introduction To, it's designed to start very simply and build on that simple introduction to teach you all about it. If it's called For Beginners, then that is really aimed at people who are brand new to that part of the hobby. You can also search on YouTube for anything that you're interested in using the search function at the top. So iNav Painless 360 will find all of my videos and even the playlists around iNav. So thanks again for watching, and happy flying.